Yeah. Got some of these levels. March 26th, 2018. Live from the Workbench. Shop Talk Podcast with Drew. Episode 4. Yeah. Maybe I should do that a little bit more subtle. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, yeah, just trying out some different shit. Shop Talk with Drew. You can always reach me. This episode 4, the final 4, March 26, 2018, Shop Talk with Drew. You can reach me at shoptalkwithdrew@yahoo. Watch the Duke and Kansas game. Oh, yeah. OT, baby. Winning it overtime. Good game. You know, I like this March Madness. This is the most college basketball I've watched. Mind you, I realized I was recording all last night into this fucking stupid this stereo looper, and I didn't realize it, but at the time, I got all my levels wrong. So, got all the levels wrong. I need to go back and record them into it again. I stayed up till like 5 in the morning. About killed me. Back onto the Final 4. It's coming up. How about this March Madness? I was going to watch 60 Days In. Most of you know, I canceled my cable, and they're going to come back and reinstall it. Yeah, I'm faking them out and put it in someone else's name. But that's really what I'm doing. My wife's name. And I was about to watch 60 Days In on last Thursday, and right before it was 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and right when I was going to go watch it, the fucking cable cut off. The finale, where they all sit around and they bitch and complain at each other, and that's what I was really looking forward to. So hopefully when it comes back on, they'll re-air that episode. And, let's see here. Yeah, the last episode. I thought this won't air till tomorrow, because obviously the cable's not here. But, I thought I was going to have to go to McDonald's and upload this, like a lot of those guys that are like off the grid and doing the cabin thing, and good thing I didn't. Yeah, luckily my wife went downtown. They got free Wi-Fi. Not downtown Columbus, but I'm not going to exactly say where I'm at. Small town. Downtown's real small, and they're rebuilding everything, and it's actually pretty nice now. So she uploaded it, of course, to YouTube. And when she got back here, I used her phone to upload everything else. And, yeah, can't complain about that. Missed the Cavs and Brooklyn game. Watched some of the highlights. Called around to James. A couple alley-oops in the last few minutes. Great. They need to play Calderon more, and I've said that before. Seasoned vet. That's why he wears number 81. Because he was born in 81. So that makes him 36. But great, underrated player. Tuesday, Cavs versus Miami, 8 p.m. Eastern. I will have the cable, so I'll be watching that. So I'll get more in depth on the Cavs. Steph Curry won't see the first round of the playoffs, and I think that's fucking great. They still got Clay, still got Draymond, the donkey, kicking people in the nuts. And you got Pachulia, the dirtiest player in the game. So they say. Well, and they got KD too, which could be, he's a great player. And he's really, really freaking huge. That went pretty quick. I got this new setup. Got some cheap $9 cables. I'm going to break it down. Buying a mixer. I just need it. I got a re-record all these levels again, these old songs. That song was probably 16 years old. I still lived at home, and I borrowed, I think, Faded Gibson SG from my brother, and it Bart from him because he lived there. So when he left, I just took it and recorded it. And there was a couple episodes ago I mentioned the Zola guitar, Zolla guitar, and I failed to mention that those pickups were wound by MJ, which I believe she either ran the custom shop for Seymour Duncan, or she currently is, but I know she ran it, and those MJ pickups are silently hot. You know what I fucking mean. And even though the guitar's from 85, maybe I said 86, the pickups aren't. They're from 86, I believe. It's been a while since I've taken them out to look at them because I've never, I took one picture of them just in case. You never know when you're going to sell something, which is what a fucking shame. I just put something online. I put it on before for a buy it now. I thought, man, I need some excitement in my life, so I put an auction style up, and also for you gear freaks out there, I also put the buy it now on there, and it's just a Techniques turntable. Sold the lid, $140, right? So what do you think I want for the turntable? Custom blue LEDs. It's fucking sweet. Anyways, it got bid up to $300, which is low. The previous auction. Reserve was not met. I put lowered reserve in just one particular spot on the auction, and within a day, it got bid up to $305. So go figure. Some people just go nuts when you change the reserve, and I don't want to sell it, and I never wanted to sell it, but yeah, things change. I want to buy some other things. Times are hard. I'll explain that in some newer episodes. Not doing what's for dinner today. If you want to know, I had spaghetti, and it was pretty fucking good. And I'm going to go eat some more and watch that new Matt Damon flick, Downsizing, or, something like that. But I got a quick tip for you on your Mexican beer with a lime in it. I'm not going to say what it's called. But if you want a cheap fix for that, you spring for the champagne of beers. And by the way, they're not paying me to say this. Just add a lime. It's a little foamy, so you got to be careful. You got to drink it quick. But if you want to save some money, your money's getting low, it's Miller Time's version of Still Reserve. It tastes a little bit better. I've read some reviews, and the armpit taste is how they refer to it. But some of the guys at Bell's, I believe, brewery, some of the head brewers there, they actually enjoy it once in a great while. But, I tend to go for the ones in the bottles because they just taste a little bit better, even though I like certain beer in a can. Today I'm still waiting for that big job, Pepsi Cola, wearing the Coca-Cola hat. Yeah, like that's ever going to happen. So today we're going to go a little bit over the pedal board. Let's see. And I need a drink because I'm parched. By the way, I hate when fucking people say that. Such a fucking oxymoron. And email me with anything you think about the new audio. Again, I need to update my setup, but I've got some different things in the works and different things going on right now. Should be a little clearer. Again, I'm trying to record this way before 10 p.m. Eastern time, so no one gets upset. Because I've got the old Fender cranked only to 12 o'clock, so it's not really cranked. I mean, I love to dime those 12-watt tube amps, old vintage Fenders. But as far as the pedal board goes, I still need a fucking drink. I love watching Uncle Doug on YouTube and greetings, alcoholics. Thank you very much. As far as the pedal board goes, and just for aesthetics, because I've got an older. I had a guitar when I was a child. This is just a Fender Powerhouse Strat, and ended up buying another one, exact same color, black, black and white. And I was going to tuxedo it out, put a black pickguard on it, leave the white pickups and the white pickup covers in it, and actually bought the pickup pickguard, put in it, and decided I liked the pickguard that was on it already. And I went out and bought all gold hardware for it, which luckily I didn't buy it piece by piece, so I got a decent deal on it. And like a dummy, but I needed the money, I put the Chrome stuff online, and basically I paid a little over $100 for all the gold hardware, and I got a little over $100 for all the Chrome hardware. So it worked out and installed all that. And if you have to change out your vintage style tuners, you're gonna need a tool from I had one at where I worked before from Stuart McDonald, and to take out the little ferrules that are recessed into the neck, and it pops them out. But I don't know what that tool's called, but I think it's $20 some. That's why I haven't been around to buying one. Probably should get one, but I'm not doing too many guitar repairs as of the moment. And never ran into it other than changing out the hardware on my own guitar. And I've repaired well over 200 to 300, maybe more guitars. Where I worked before, we had 500 to 600 guitars on display, and then there was probably 300 to 400 locked in the back in these different catacombs of the pawn shop, where previous employees would take stuff that was somewhat valuable and they would hide it because one day, the boss would go away and the employees would play and they would buy stuff and resell it and try to make some money. Can't blame them, but I guarantee whatever. On to the pedal board, because I keep fucking putting it off. Again, for aesthetic look, so you heard about the Powerhouse Strat. This is black, white pickguard, gold hardware. So for just aesthetics, I have El Cheapo. I think it's a CBI cable, but I can't remember. It's sitting right in front of me. A gold mine cable, black. It's got the little gold accents on it. But that's just for looks. I've got a few other Planet Waves cables. I like those that lock in. They got these little gold connectors and everything, and they lock in to your guitar and to whatever pedal you're going into first. I've owned a lot of different pedals, and it took me many different years to get to my pedal setup, and it's still not where I want it. There's some other things that I want to get that I used to have. I just haven't got around to it because they're not necessarily a necessity, but I've owned probably 3 Pedal Power Pluses by, Voodoo Lab. Those are great. I still have all the cables because I don't even know if they sell the cables with them anymore. All the power cables. But I've had 3 of those at least, and I always sell them because I bought them for cheap. Sometimes I would buy them at cost. That was another perk of where I worked before. The first pawn shop, not the second pawn shop. The second pawn shop, they were bullshit. They didn't know what the fuck they're doing. On to the first pedal. Got a Teese RMC 2 Real McCoy wah pedal. And I seen Paul Gilbert set up at one point. I never really liked the nasally aspect of, Ernie Ball wah pedal. I wanted to get one of the Ernie Ball ones that had the double, had twice the amount of voicing. Whatever. Never got one. Those are still cheap. You can pick them up. But this one I paid $150 for used. And I had another one. I had another pedal board. And I'll get into that some other day. But I sold one, exact same thing, for $220, probably 4 or 5 years ago, which I should have never did, but I had to. Going right into a metal screamer, 2 different metal screamers. The first one set more of a rhythm with, I believe, the gain turned all the way down. And let me go over there and that's incorrect. The gain's all turned all the way down. The level's all the way up. So you can use it kind of like a boost or a rhythm kind of sound. But the other, they call it the Metal Licks, which is the second gain stage in the Metal Screamer. It's a tube screamer. It's the same fucking thing. They only made it for 1 year, and they didn't make a tube screamer. So what is this? They only did it for marketing purposes, and that's set all the way down. So you got both gain stages turned all the way down, and the level turned all the way up. The next one, I've set it many different ways. It's another Metal Screamer from 1985. And this one actually doesn't sound as warm as the other one. And I've owned probably a handful of Metal Screamers. Had one before, and it sounded worse than the other 2 I have right now. And so I sold that when the time came. It was just a backup. And then I actually bought one, like, it was brand new with the box and everything like that. And this was back when I had my business, and I sold it for $150. It was like new. I'm sure I don't remember what it sounded like, but I paid like $58 for it. So why not? When you're in the business of making money, you need to make some money. And then I'm going right into a Voodoo Lab Micro Vibe. You can only use them for a few songs, but if you want to play those few songs, you need a Micro Vibe. I like them better than other vibe pedals, and I've played a lot of vibe pedals, and I keep going back to that one. I had another one before, had a whole other pedal board, and I went and got to the point where I wasn't playing with any pedals. But for what I do, for the stuff I try to do, like Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that, there's certain pedals you need. You could get by without them, but I ain't that good, so I need some guitar pedals. Then I'm going right into a Boss RV6, which I've owned the RV5. Great pedal. This one the only difference is it has delay. Well, I don't use delay, so I mean I could go with the RV5. It wouldn't really matter to me. Of course, I got a couple different amps. I'll talk about them some other time. But then I got these jumpers, these DiMarzio jumpers, and believe it or not, most of the 6-inch cables, I won't say cheap, a lot of the 6-inch cables I've ever used, even before the 3 I have now, DiMarzio ones, I've never paid for. I've always been given them to where I worked before. And even at the job where they didn't know what they were doing, they knew enough to let me have the cables. But that's before new management came in. That's a whole nother story in itself. And I mentioned I'm not doing what's for dinner I'll get into that further in a couple more episodes, and we'll have more what's for dinners going on, more NBA talk, more grilling. The weather's changing. It's going to rain all week here in Ohio. We'll get back to it, little different tricks you can do. And little guitar tips, new stuff coming up. I'm playing around with stuff right now, and cable's coming tomorrow. Wi-Fi's coming tomorrow. I can't fucking wait. It's been long overdue. Let's see. It's like 9:39. And I was trying to do this, trying to end the show last time with this. And I guaranteed. I haven't tuned the guitar. Got another guitar, the Powerhouse Strat. Got a restring. And by the way, and they're not paying me to say this. I'm having some trouble with the family back east. They're not paying me to say this, but for a while, when I was doing a lot of more guitar work, I fell in love with they weren't I did like the half rounds, and we ordered a lot from SIT because they're up in Akron, Ohio, so they're close, and they sponsor a bunch of people, Black Keys, all these different companies, all these different bands, but that has nothing to do with it. What I'm saying is, Joe, they're the salesman from there. I miss talking to you. That's funny. He calls and talks to everybody all over Ohio. Tells them his whole life story. But no, he's cool as fuck. Their half rounds are cool. Really cool, different feel. I turned on a guy that jazz player that didn't like flat wounds. Because so much tension, I don't blame him. But he got turned on to the half rounds because he plays jazz. Makes sense. And then the other ones that I really dug were the half gauges. And I always wanted to try them because, the Carlos Santana shit came out. And I ordered 2 pairs of the 9.5s and 2 pairs of the 10.5 SITs, staying 2 string. And they're good, but I found that DR Dario has 10.5s. They have certain half gauge strings, and I've always been a DR Dario guy, so that's who I went with. And very good. That's what I was trying to do at the end of the show last time. It didn't work. The amp was too low before. Mind you, give me a fucking break because I haven't played in so long. I rarely ever practice. That's my own fault. A lot of things set in. Life becomes black, and shitstorm. So what can you do? I think that'll be all for me this week. I'm gonna come up with some more stuff. Hopefully, I will talk to you guys before the weekend as we head into this March Madness, and hopefully, I have another What's for Dinner coming up. We'll figure it out from there. I appreciate everybody listening out there, and I hope you guys have a good week. And I'm going to try to play this song. And again, the levels are all fucked up, so bear in mind with me. Give me a fucking break. Okay, we'll see you guys. Let's see if this actually works. Nope. Oop. This song's old as fuck. It sounds like shit. Real tinny. Have a good weekend, guys. Stop Talk with Drew and Yahoo.